first when
Thanks for staying with NDTV. It's a packed Wednesday here at India Global. I'm Arjun Samar Mahendran, and here are the headlines. Russia backs India in sanctions war, slams Trump's, underlines Indian exports are welcome. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar in Russia amid tariff tensions for key meets, is set to meet counterpart Lavrov on Thursday. No end to rising attacks on Indians in Ireland. 9-year-old boy assaulted in latest such incident. Massive breakthrough in India-China deadlock. China lifts curbs on rare earths. Direct flights to resume soon. India clears massive 62,000 crore deal for 97 Tejas fighter jets. HAL to produce indigenous LCA Mark 1A aircraft. And no Pakistan, no drama in Asia Cup. Pakistan and Oman replaced by Bangladesh, Kazakhstan in upcoming men's Asia Cup hockey. Viewers, we begin this Wednesday edition with a focus on Russia, where in a high-stakes diplomatic maneuver with global implications, Moscow and New Delhi, in fact, are now turning gears of strategic power. How they are doing so? Well, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is in Moscow right now as we speak. He is co-chairing the 26th India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission, shaping the future of trade, technology, and even science. It's a pivotal chapter in the special and privileged strategic partnership between the two global heavyweights. Meanwhile, the Ministry of External Affairs calls it a time-tested and strategically significant partnership. Also on the agenda, meanwhile, are crucial bilateral talks with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Thursday, following multiple recent high-level exchanges. And keep your eyes on the horizon, viewers. President Putin may also very well soon be visiting India, invited personally by PM Modi, mind you. Meanwhile, in the latest, the charge d'affaires of the Russian embassy in India has underlined that if Indian goods are facing difficulties entering the US market, the Russian market is welcoming Indian exports. Listen in. But before that, my colleague Vishal Vivek joins us for the latest on this. Vishal, trip coming amidst a very important time geopolitically, in terms of business. And this latest comment coming by the Russian charge d'affaires, what to make of this statement, especially in this politically tense situation?
Well, these are big statements coming from the Russian side. One of the top envoys from the Russian side has slammed Trump's secondary sanctions. So remember, these secondary sanctions were imposed. They're about to be imposed in a few days, August 27 to be precise, bringing the total tariffs on India to 50%. The original tariffs were 25%, so they will be shot up to 50% now, according to the US side. So the Russian side has condemned this and slammed this and said that these are double standards from the US side. And at the same time, Russia has also welcomed Indian exports to its shores and said that if India finds it difficult to enter the US for its exports, it can send the same exports to the US side. So this is a big statement coming from the Russian side. And the envoy has also gone on to say that these secondary sanctions reflect US's double standards, and also that it's a disrespect of national interest, and also slammed these secondary sanctions as illegal. They have also gone on to say that Russia will never impose these kind of sanctions on BRICS nations because remember, Russia is one of the strongest nations as far as the BRICS group is concerned, and despite tremendous sanctions, Russian economy has also prevailed in the last 2-3 years. Experts have been surprised by the fact that how that has happened, but that indeed is the case, that Russian economy has propped up in the last 2 to 3 years. So that's what the Russian envoy has summed it up and said that US needs to be slammed on the international stage.
Well, Vishal, this you rightly pointed out, but this trip also has many other connotations. Of course, tariffs and the sanctions rather being the biggest or one of the biggest of them. But how does this work as a prelude to Putin's all-important planned visit to India later this year?
Well, these are some of the striking points in the last few months. Ever since this whole tariff war between US and India started, because ever since US started to levy these uncompromised tariffs on one side on India and some other Asian nations, these BRICS nations have solidified their groups, and we've seen many of these top leaders, be it Lula from the Brazilian side, or Russian President Putin, or even other leaders in the BRICS group. They've all been speaking to each other quite often. There have been several calls that Lula has, given to Prime Minister Modi, and at the same time, Russian President Putin has also spoken to Prime Minister Modi in the last 24 hours. So this group is solidifying as we speak. This seems to be in the wake of these tariffs that have been imposed across the globe, and the background to which, according to the US, is Russia's oil that have been exported to various shores such as India and China. So they are responding to that, and sorry about that, and they seem to be doing quite well.
Right. An all-important trip, as my colleague Vishal Vivek was pointing out there. And let's just play out that very important bite of the Russian charge d'affaires that only came in moments ago.
We don't see much negative impact from tariffs adventures against India to impact on or the Russia-India trade relations. Moreover, we will find the ways out, and if the Indian goods are facing some barriers in other countries, the Russian market will welcome them.
Viewers, we now shift our focus to a brutal and heartbreaking story coming out of Ireland. A 9-year-old Indian origin boy was left bleeding and hospitalized after being stoned by a teenager in what his family calls a racist attack. Now, the boy was simply playing in his Cork neighborhood when a 15-year-old hurled stones at him. One struck his head deeply. He collapsed, was covered in blood. His family says it was no accident, it was hate, pure and simple. And it's not an isolated case, viewers. Now, only in recent weeks, in fact, within this month itself, a 22-year-old Indian man was assaulted with a knife. A 6-year-old girl was called dirty and was in fact told to go back to India. President Higgins has condemned the attacks, calling them despicable. But fear is rising. The Indian embassy, meanwhile, has also issued an urgent safety advisory. Community events are being cancelled. Parents are terrified. Meanwhile, authorities are saying extremist hate is spreading through social media and foreign calls. And now Indian lives, viewers, children's well-being are very well under threat. My colleague Disha Bagchi joins me for more on this story. Disha, could you give us a clearer picture of the atmosphere across the Indian community in Ireland? How are families reacting to this? And has there been any concrete response, so to say, from the government beyond just rhetoric and condemnation?
Right, so in terms of how the Indian community is feeling in Ireland as well as across the globe really, even in certain other countries, whether it's Australia, whether it's UK, there's a sense of fear, there's a sense of apprehension, there's a fear of uncertainty regarding these recent attacks, this recent spate of attacks really across the world, whether in Sydney, Adelaide, and Ireland, we're seeing, and it's not just that the victims are adults, that they're, in UK we saw yesterday the case of 2 Sikh men men who were attacked, but in Ireland also various people of all ages have been attacked, whether it's 9-year-old children, 6-year-old children, but of course also adults. We saw the case of a Indian origin man who was also attacked just last week, but the most recent case, which is extremely disturbing, of a 9-year-old boy being attacked by a 15-year-old, being hit by stones, and he's faced really serious head injuries, but now according to the family he is out of danger and is back home, and they've in fact there's a probe going on in regarding all of these attacks. So the police is looking into what is the reason behind this recent spate of attacks, but there's a lot of apprehension, a lot of uncertainty. There's also certain Indian origin people, members of the Indian community, who are also thinking of returning back to India after these recent attacks. We saw just last week Indian man who was attacked by a group of teenagers in Ireland. He has said that he plans to return back to India after this recent attack. He doesn't feel safe in his home. He doesn't feel safe in Ireland. Now, this is a man who was in fact in Ireland for over 10 years. So, a really shocking case, and it really brings up a lot of questions whether these are isolated incidents or mere coincidences, or is this actually an orchestrated campaign against the Indian immigrants, the Indian communities across the globe by certain anti-India elements. So
that's
a very
absolutely
serious concern.
Very important point you raised there, Disha. First of all, these are not isolated incidents. We've been seeing a trend of these incidents, so to call a string of these incidents. And what's more disturbing here is that the fact that, you know, all the perpetrators of these incidents, at least these 3 incidents, are teenagers themselves.
Absolutely. So, many are also suggesting that there's been a increasing anti-India sentiment on social media, and which has led to a certain sense of radicalization of these teenagers across Ireland, across Australia and other such countries. Even in UK, we saw, as I mentioned, 2 sick elderly men were attacked by a group of teenagers. So really it begs the question that what is really triggering this rise in anti-India sentiments and these rise in racial attacks, because this is not something
That's
that
absolutely
we've seen
right, Disha. And here at India Global, we'll of course keep on highlighting these stories, these trends which are not isolated, and keep on asking and hammering at the questions that really matter. Now, shifting our focus to eastwards, where India and China have just hit reset button, in fact, on their rocky relationship. And viewers, it's all thanks to a high-level visit by Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi this time. Now, after meeting PM Modi, NSA Ajit Doval and Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar, both sides have signalled a serious breakthrough. First, the big one, talks on boundary settlement are back on track. 2 new working groups, in fact, will tackle long pending border issues and keep peace in the region. It's the most progress, in fact, seen since the 2020 Galwan clash, viewers. Now, China is also lifting key export restrictions. Rare earth, fertilizers, and even tunnel boring machines are back in the pipeline. The very same news that was broken on NDTV exclusively just a couple of days ago. Now, this gives a much-needed boost to Indian industries, including agriculture, infrastructure, and even manufacturing. And that's not all. Direct flights between India and China are also finally set to resume after 5+ years. Additionally, easier visas, revived border trade, and big support for each other's future diplomatic events. It's a fresh start with real deliverables. So is this a full thaw? Not yet. But it's definitely a clear step towards stability, cooperation, and renewed trust between the 2 Asian giants. And with that, it's time we step into a short break, but much more on the other side, viewers.
Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I'm just getting started. And I don't want my lot to have to worry about funeral costs. Let them spend their money on nicer things. So I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day 1. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To get a free life insurance quote, call our friendly UK team on 0800 470 4474 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Welcome back. You're watching India Global, viewers. We shift our focus westwards, where America has just changed the immigration game. Immigrants applying to live and work in the US will now be screened, not just for criminal records, but for their beliefs as well. That's correct. The Trump administration has quietly added anti-Americanism and anti-Semitism to the vetting process. But here's what they did not include and why it's raising alarms. Now, viewers, the new US screening immigrants and political and ideological beliefs, marking a shift from just legal to moral vetting. If your views, in fact, are deemed anti-American, your path to a visa or citizenship could end right there. Now, the new USCIS policy, as you see right here, it targets anyone seen supporting anti-Americanism or anti-Semitism. Now, these two categories are now treated as red flags in immigration applications without a clear definition of, by the way, what qualifies to be anti-Semitism or not. Now, moving on, despite increasing hate crimes, racism, Islamophobia and xenophobia have been excluded from screening. Critics are arguing this selective morality, in fact, sends a troubling message about whose safety actually matters. Now, the policy doesn't even specify what counts as anti-American, leaving interpretation up to individual officers. Now, this vagueness opens up the door to personal bias and political misuse as well. Meanwhile, officials are told to consider suspect beliefs, not automatically deny, yet this gives wide discretion. Meanwhile, critics worry that decisions could even hinge more on officers' worldview than actual facts. And the USCIS now vets online behavior to assess political beliefs and even affiliations. Now, a post from years ago, viewers, taken out of context could very well be grounds for rejection. Now, Trump's administration frames immigration not as a human right, but as a conditional benefit. You heard it right. It's framing immigration as a conditional benefit. Now, it sets a precedent where loyalty, not legality, becomes the test for entry. And for more on this, I'm joined by immigration expert, Mr. Vadva, giving us an Indian perspective. Now, Mr. Vadva, my first question to you is, from an Indian perspective, how might this new ideological screening also impact visa approvals or denials when it comes to Indian students?
To start with, I'm Rohit Sharma. And as regard this screening, anti-American screening is which is now making a news. I, in fact, do not see why this noise is so much all about this, because it is okay if you are applying for a visa of any country and wanting to have a citizenship or a residency of that country, then there's no doubt citizenship or residency is a privilege, not a right. But having said so, where the Trump administration is actually not clarifying, and you rightly said that there is so much of vagueness in this. Now, what are the criteria that are going to define anti-American? Now, tomorrow you can say that if an Indian is saying that even this tariff policy is not right, is it that the Trump administration or the visa officer says this is going to go anti-American? So as far as they have the clarity, on what is to be considered as anti-American or anti-Semitic, then the discretion of the visa officer also, will be very clear that, okay, these are the grounds. But to me, it actually looks like, actually shutting up the voice of the very people of America, whether they are Indians, whether Asians, whoever has the citizenship or the nationality, all working there in America. That person is also adding so much to the economy of that country. They are not just doing favor by calling that person there. That person is also contributing equally. So if you are going to have this kind of a screening, then are you actually encouraging people to just simply shut their mouth? They can't even write anything on their social media.
A very
So what
important
are those
point you raised
criteria?
there, Mr. Sharma. If you're having such type of a screening, are you forcing people to, in fact, not voice their opinions, have a
Yes.
made-up social media timeline, and social
Yes.
media timeline, more importantly, being checked ahead of your official documents or your work profile? It sets a new precedence altogether with, as you very rightly mentioned, these very vague points. We'll have to cut the conversation short here, Mr. Sharma, due to paucity of time, but we'll definitely continue this in the days to come. Thank you so much for taking out the time, Mr. Sharma. We shift our focus, viewers, where the union government has cleared a rupees 62,000 crore deal on Tuesday to buy 97 light combat aircraft Mark 1A fighter jets for the Indian Air Force. Now, this will be in addition, of course, to the already ordered 83 LCA Mark 1A fighters ordered by the government earlier. Now, this first order was worth 48,000 rupees, 48,000 crore. Here's a report. India has just signed off on its biggest ever indigenous fighter jet deal. Rupees 62,000 crore for 97 Tejas Mark 1A aircraft. It's a clear sign that the IAF is transforming. These jets are also set to replace the retiring MiG-21s. They'll reshape the Indian Air Force's combat profile. With cutting-edge avionics, AESA radar, electronic warfare suites, and fly-by-wire precision. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also flew a Tejas trainer in 2023. With the feat, he became the first Indian leader to enter the cockpit of a frontline fighter jet. It was a bold message wrapped in a symbolic move. India is backing its own engineering. With this order, manufacturer Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has also ramped up production. Very importantly, the move is not only securing India's defense interests, but also fueling over 400 supplier firms across the country. Be it the radar systems from Bengaluru or the flight controls from Hyderabad, each part tells a local story. The story of an Atmanirbhar Bharat, the story of Make in India and Make for India. Once deliveries begin, India will operate 180 Tejas Mark 1A aircraft, making it the backbone of a future-ready fleet. It's a shift in doctrine towards full-spectrum self-reliance. 97 new jets, 62,000 crore rupees in investment, and one statement: India will fly on its own wings. Bureau Report, NDTV World.
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of them. Stay close, even when you're far apart. Send money worldwide with Remitly.
I've been thinking, I want to plan my funeral so it feels more like a celebration. My parents always said I was born dancing. I just love it. Bhangra, disco, even line dancing. So when my time comes, I want to have music, dancing, the lot.
With over 150 years' experience, you can count on Co-op Funeral Care to help you pre-plan the funeral you want. To find out more, visit Co-op Funeral Care or give us a call.
How was roaming in Italy?
Oh, stunning. Didn't cost me a penny.
New fella paid?
No, hun. Labara. No roaming fees.
Labara, the smarter mobile network.
When I woke up, they said, Alyssa, you've got leukemia. We found out that the chemo wasn't working.
Cancer is still the biggest killer of children in the UK, but innovative new treatments could help beat cancer for more children like Alyssa.
I'm cancer-free now.
Text, call or search to give £3 a month and help build a new children's cancer centre at Great Ormond Street Hospital. So together we can save more lives.
Aye aye. Aye aye. Aye aye.
Good idea. It's never too early to consider my pension options.
With II's low flat pension fees, you could retire with more.
Really? Aye.
helping you get the most out of your pension.
Nice.
So many investment opportunities!
Interactive Investor, a Which recommended SIP provider 3 years running. The II SIP, your personal pension.
As a dad, I know life's unpredictable. It's all fun and games until it's not.
You okay?
I want my kids to always be looked after. That's why I'm not putting things off anymore and protecting the life we've built by calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
Brilliant.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought, and could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
With our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 6797 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000, whether it's for home improvements, new appliances, a car, or for some of life's big moments. So even if you've had problems with credit before, Evlo looks beyond your credit score and always takes a case-by-case approach. Visit evlo.co.uk to get your conditional decision in minutes. Evlo, your future in your hands.
Don't let gaps in your travel insurance spoil your holiday. Go without the doubt. Insure and go. Call 0800 198 0198. Trusted by over 27 million travellers.
Now that retirement's here, it's time for me to focus on the things that really matter in life, like making sure my family can manage funeral costs when I'm no longer around. Which reminds me,
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
That money could help cover my funeral costs or be a gift for my grandson. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our UK team on 0800 881 5090 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
With II's low flat pension fees, you could retire with more.
Really?
Open an Interactive Investor personal pension today.
This is an important message for people living with diabetes from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
As members, we're all working it out together.
Call 0800 144 5410 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. Join us now because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
When Tony passed, we wanted to celebrate him his way. All he ever spoke about was bite this,